Cinnamon here, and are you still not subscribed to Matt's channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
UFC 304 live from Manchester, England, and yes, we are back on pay-per-view, which means the client card run at 23-2 is on the line once again. I'll break down the main card, provide free picks, leans, price talk, and more. One note, even though it's in the UK, they are catering to the North American crowd and North American pay-per-view watchers. Normal time, you'll see it 10 p.m. main card Eastern time, so nothing changes there. So guys that are fighting on the main card are fighting like 3, 4, 5 a.m. guys. So that will be interesting to see how some guys adapt to that situation. Let's do a UFC update here. As mentioned, 23-2 pay-per-view run is on line. That's 92%, guys. Average line plus money. That's what makes it more impressive. You know, this is a minus 250 favorites. If I do parlay two favorites together, I count it as one bet, and it's usually around plus money. 41-19 all cards run, including the Fight Nights cards at 70%. Again, average line plus money, guys. Two fight parlays, 70% long term, 2023, 2024. Very small card last week, and we did lose on a two fight parlay due to who lost on that card that we had as a favorite. Yeah, Algio. We had him with under 2.5 rounds in a fight that hit in the first round very easily, with Garcia winning that fight. Very small unit. It was like not even a half a unit. 0.25 units. I didn't even want to bet the card. A very small card for myself and clients. Not a card you want to be heavily involved in. You know, shout out to Jenna Robe. I did lean her to win the fight on the podcast last week. Hopefully you did go that way. I didn't bet it personally, but she was able to find a submission and good on her. Impressive on her, and she's not too far from a title shot. Maybe another win or two, and she will be there. PGA also running well, guys. 2 outrights last 3 weeks. Hit David Thompson plus 2,200 a few weeks ago, and follow that up with a major winner again on Xander plus 1,200. We're on both Xander major wins, right? He won PGA Championship not too long ago, 2-3 months ago, plus 1,400, and now we're on his other major win here at plus 1,200. That's 6 outright winners in the last 8 majors, and 12 of the last 14 have been profitable, guys. Get on board, become a client today. Great time with the NFL coming up. With the NFL coming up, you'll have the NFL, you'll have the PGA, you'll have the UFC. Those are my 3 strongest sports. And then followed, of course, by the NHL, NBA, which we do handicap as well. Systemsportscapping.com is the website, or link.me/systemcapping. Everything's laid out for you there. Give it a shout. Shout out to all the video and audio listeners. We're all over the place now. Major platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, YouTube, etc. Please like, subscribe, or rate depending on where you're watching or listening. Let's get right into it, guys. Let's get right into it. We have some detailed breakdowns that I want to get right into. We have a good card. It's a good card. It's a pay-per-view card. You don't have any big top heavy names. If you want to add Leon Edwards and Tom Aspinall up there, sure, but I guess you don't have any, I would say, very exciting matchups that the world's talking about, but we got a couple good matchups that we'll talk about here, and it starts with the main event. Leon Edwards minus 225 versus Bilal plus 200. I see some minus 250 out there for Edwards. Shop around, get the best price. It's a fight that I'm actually really looking forward to. These two don't like each other, more on the Bilal side, right? It's Bilal trying to bring the bad blood more. He was upset that he never got that title shot earlier, because we all know what happened in the first fight, right? That eye poke. But Leon looked great in that first round against Bilal, and you expect that from a skill standpoint on the feet, right? That was 3 years ago. Bilal has improved his boxing. You saw that in the Sean Brady fight. You see it in camp as well from his coaches advising. So Bilal has improved, but you could also say Leon has as well. And Leon has we always knew he's one of the best strikers in the UFC, guys. One of the best kickboxer strikers in the UFC. Distance management is incredible. He makes you fight his game. That's what he's great at. That's what Bilal tries to do as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes, right? Definitely very interesting to see how that goes. And there are little concerns, will Leon take Bilal a little too lightly? Because he saw what happened in the first round. He didn't want to fight him again. He thought he was a lower level than him. And really didn't want to give him that matchup until he had no choice because Bilal kept winning. Right? So is Bilal going to take a little lightly? You never know. You never know, right? Sometimes you do have some questions with Edwards' mental game. But we're going to see how that plays out. Bilal fighting for Palestine as well. That is something to mention. Ton of heart this guy has, right? He's a Muslim faith from Palestine, or his background's from Palestine. So he's going to go into the ring fighting for that as well. And he's just very confident. Not even just this week in interviews. For the past 3 years. Very confident that he could beat Leon. Very confident. And that does scare me. Bilal's not a guy I like to bet against. I had Bilal against Brady. I took him there at plus money. And it's interesting to see how these two kind of match up, because if you look at skill set to skill set, Leon Edwards is the clear, much better striker on the feet, right? You have to favor him. Quicker on the feet, better kickboxing. The movement's going to be better. He's going to be quicker overall in kickboxing and the boxing. I do give Bilal also, the things I do give Bilal are probably the pace. And surprisingly, he actually has more volume than him. And the volumes aren't significant, right? Like, you'll see it under significant strikes, but they're not, big shots. I expect Leon to land bigger kicks and punches in the fight. But Bilal may have more volume throughout the fight. He likes to come forward, likes to throw his hands. Now, they're not always impactful shots. And I do think Edwards are going to be able to avoid any big shots from Bilal because Bilal really doesn't throw any big shots. Bilal is just more of a very well-rounded fighter. He's kind of good everywhere, not great anywhere. I do think he needs to, if he wants to win this fight, he's just going to have to continue to pressure. Right? He's going to have to pressure. Use that cardio 5-round pace that he has and he has shown before. He's coming into this fight in great shape. So is Leon as well, right? But if it does get into the 4th and 5th round and deep into this fight, which it definitely could, it may favor Bilal slightly here. Right? We're also going to see Bilal most likely try to take down Leon, but we have seen Leon's excellent takedown defense, right? It's good. Right, he's been able to do it against Usman in the second and third fight much better, right? Obviously, not as much in the second fight, but the third fight, it was there. It looked great, right? And then against Colby, looked good as well. I think Colby got him down maybe once, if I recall. I think he did control him. I think it was the last round, too. So that's a bit concerning when it gets later into the fight. Possibly I can see Bilal maybe using it to his advantage, but I expect this fight to be on the feet for the most part, which you have to favor Leon Edwards if this fight's going to be standing, right? You just have to. I just have Leon as the much better technical striker on the feet, and we saw it in that first round in that first fight. Say what you want, it was 3 years ago. You still have to give Leon Edwards is a much better striker. And when I do think Bilal, I don't think Bilal, when I'm thinking of Bilal Muhammad, I'm not thinking, excellent wrestler. He's not really an excellent wrestler, guys. He doesn't really take down guys easily. So that's going to be the big battle here. Is Bilal going to be able to get down Leon and kind of control him down there? Maybe control him against the cage as well. That's going to be the question. Because Bilal's not going to, in my opinion, Bilal doesn't want to stay in range against Leon Edwards on the feet. Nobody in the world really wants to do that, right? You would be crazy to want to do that. And I expect Bilal to try to wrestle. Will it be enough for him, right? Will it be enough for him to win this fight just on, the pressure, the wrestling, the heart, right? Because I give Bilal all that. I give him that heart. I give him that will. probably more than Leon Edwards, to be honest, right? So I don't write off Bilal in this fight. I agree with the price tag 2-1 Leon. The play for podcast purposes is going to be Leon. But, I give Bilal about a 30% chance to win this fight. 25, 30%. I'm not writing off Bilal. Love his confidence. I do think he's going to have a good game plan. Remember, he does train with Islam, Makhachev, and Khabib. Right? So I do expect him to have a clear game plan in this fight. It's going to be a good fight, I think, guys. Is it going to be super entertaining? Possibly not, because, Bilal, he's not super entertaining, but he finds ways to win fights. But I do expect Leon's fighting at home, the stand-up game and the movement to be a little too much for Bilal, because there is a clear advantage on the feet, and I do give Leon Edwards that clear advantage. Aspinall, minus 400 versus Blades, plus 300. Another rematch we get to see. And we know what happened in the first time. Unfortunately, Tom blew out his knee. It was a firefight, right? It lasted like 20 seconds. And it was just they were just throwing hands, right? And that's scary in a heavyweight fight. I hope Tom approaches it different this time, right? Because if you want to pay minus 400 on Tom Aspinall, it's very steep for a heavyweight fight, right? Especially against a guy like Blades, who is a tough matchup for Aspinall, because I think Blades is going to be the better wrestler. And I think Blades, if he does get it to the ground, how is Aspinall going to approach that? And if Blades is able to get this deeper into the fight, we've only seen Aspinall into a second round, right? I'm not saying he can't fight deeper into the fight. I expect he could, but we haven't seen it. Right, he talks about it in training camp. He's always fighting 5 rounds, so I get it. And we've seen Blades go deeper into fights before, so that will be interesting to see what happens here. Steep price tag of minus 400. If you want to improve it, you just play the finish. If Tom Aspinall wins this fight by decision, I would be completely shocked. Completely shocked, guys. I expect him to catch him on the feet with a big shot or a submission. Right, Tom has multiple ways to win this fight. Blades, in my eyes, he could catch, I guess, Aspinall on the feet. He could. He can't submit him, though. He could possibly grind out a decision win as well. But, it's heavyweight guys. 5 rounds, heavyweights, big guys like this that come out and look for finishes. Very low odds this fight goes 5 rounds. I'd be completely shocked if it went 5 rounds. So if you want to improve the price, and if you do like Tom, just play by finish. It's going to improve it not big time, sorry. It's not. Minus like 280, 300. It's not going to improve it big time, but they're telling you if he wins, this is how he's going to win the fight. Fun fact here, Tom Aspinall has been dipping his hands in petrol. Gas, right? He's been... It's crazy. Apparently it makes your knuckles harder. I don't know anything about it, but you can tell he's trying to find every avenue. And I do think if he catches Blades on the feet, Blades might go night-night. So, Aspinall is definitely going to be the play here. I think Aspinall is the best heavyweight in the world right now. I do think if he fought John Jones, it would be a tough test. And John Jones' toughest test, in my opinion. He's just not fighting, right? So, yes, John Jones is the best fighter in the world, but he's not fighting. So, right now, I have Tom Aspinall as the best heavyweight in the world. I think he gets it done at home. I think him playing in front of his crowd, fighting in front of his crowd is a good thing. He's a guy that likes to do that. He likes to fight in front of the crowd. He gets energized in front of the crowd. So I do think that's going to help him here. Personally, I have Blades winning this fight 15, maybe 20% of the time. So, it's enough for me to back Aspinall in some way in this fight. And like I said, I would be very surprised if this went 5 rounds. Very surprised. King Green. Yes, it's not Bobby anymore. And remember that, guys. Minus 125 versus Paddy Pimblett plus 100. He changed his name legally to King Green. If anyone would do it, it would be someone like Bobby Green, right? Just how he is, his flair, his style. It's something that he would do, and he did it. Paddy, guys, a couple question marks around him coming into this fight that I did my research on. Almost pulled out of this fight 2 weeks ago due to having a bad camp. And his coach suggesting it, guys. That's not good. That's not good. He mentioned it, though, after the last 2 weeks After those bad start to the training camp, or those bad weeks to start the training camp, he mentioned the last 2 weeks was his best camp, or the best 2 weeks of a camp. So take it what you will from there. He's deciding to fight. He's showing up. His mental game is just all over the place, right? He gets a ton of slack and shit on social media. We all know why. He deserves it, right? Calling out for being paid for interviews on Harry Owani, running his mouth a lot. A lot of people just don't like it. And a lot of people don't like his game, and he doesn't look good in fights, guys. Right? And this is why he's an underdog here at home with a grappling advantage. Right? He isn't as good as advertised, though. Right? We've seen it. I thought he lost to Jared Gordon. Didn't look great against Jared Gordon, who's a not low tier fighter. I would give him maybe low to mid tier fighter in this division. Looked a bit better against Tony Ferguson, but Tony Ferguson's washed, and he couldn't finish Tony. Tony, where King Green finished him by submission in the third round. Right? This is going to be his toughest test yet, Paddy Pimblett. You know, Bobby's very experienced, ton of fights, like 50 fights. Will have the better boxing. And his good takedown defense at 74%. Paddy Pimblett's not known for taking fights down to the ground. Like, he's not a great wrestler. He's a great grappler if it gets there. And he could submit Bobby if it gets there. But will it get there is the big question. Will it get there? Right? If Bobby is able to keep this fight on the feet, which he usually is. Most of his fights he's able to do so. Last time he got taken down, if I recall, was against Islam Makhachev. Which obviously, you expected. But he does have good takedown defense. He can wrestle. Bobby's fairly well-rounded. Wherever it goes, he can get there. But yes, I do have Paddy Pimblett as the better grappler. Don't get me wrong. If it's just a jiu-jitsu fight or if it's just on the ground, Paddy probably wins this fight. But the thing is, I expect the fight to probably be on the feet for a big part of it. We're seeing Green coming off a nice win over Jim Miller. Jim Miller was on a nice run. Right? A lot of people thought Jim Miller could win that fight. Older guy, sure. Right, Pimblett, the younger guy, coming into this fight. But, Green has been looking good as of late. He's not going anywhere, even though he is a bit older. I won't be betting this fight personally. For myself or clients, it's more of a flip of a coin, and it's difficult to predict how Paddy's going to come out for the fight. Right, there's concerns around his mental health, around his training camp, right? It is just something I want to stay away from and not put my money on or my client's money on. I'm going to lean Bobby Green, though, because I do think his takedown defense is good enough. I don't think there'll be a ton of grappling in this fight. And I think if it stays on the feet, we know Bobby Green's going to be the better boxer and striker. But we've seen at times where Bobby gets a little cocky in there, a little loose, his hands down, maybe he gets caught. Possible. We know Paddy Pimblett likes to come forward at times and tries to land a big shot. He has landed big shots before, but I'm just not high on Paddy. Bobby Green always will put up a good fight. So I'm going to lean Bobby Green, but I'm not betting this fight personally. Makhachev minus 160 versus Kopp plus 130. Yes, I know this fight is off the main card, but we got to talk about it, guys. It should be on the main card. I don't want to talk about the Duncan and Rodriguez Robocop fight. Let's talk about this fight. Ton of bad blood between these two. These guys got into altercations 2 times now. One at the PI months and months ago, and now yesterday at the Fighter Hotel. It was like a team brawl. Why isn't this fight on the main card? I know why. I think there's 2 reasons. One, to maybe balance out the card, right? Or 2, Makhachev, just how he's going to fight. He's going to be boring, right? If Makhachev's going to win this fight, which right now I'm leaning his way to win the fight, it's going to be him grappling, keeping Kopp down on the ground and trying to be on his back. So I get it. Maybe that's why it is possible, but due to the history between these guys and the bad blood, you got to have this on the main card, guys. Right? They should have kept this on the main card. Makhachev's still undefeated, a lot of hype around him, but so far just very incomplete performances is my way to look at it. He keeps winning, right? He keeps winning fights, but some questionable rounds at times. His striking is poor. Right? Kopp's gonna have a big striking advantage here, guys. But Makhachev's gonna have a big wrestling and grappling advantage. And when a guy has a big wrestling and grappling advantage, I usually look that way over the striker. Now, Kopp could catch him on the feet, sure, but Mokaev is just going to continue to spam the takedowns. Spam takedowns, and just outwork you. Right? That's what he does. He outworks you. And usually his opponent gets frustrated. Right? Mokaev's coming off his best win yet, Alex Perez. I put Cap at that level, Alex Perez level. So Mokaev has shown he can win at this level. Right? Could Cap be his toughest test? Yes, possibly. But if Cap had any sort of slack or any sort of weakness, I would say it's his grappling. And it's not terrible, but I would say it is his grappling, right? So like I mentioned, striking advantage, yes, but Mokaev should be able to just take him down and possibly submit him or possibly just control him for 3 rounds, right? Kopp does have decent takedown defense, don't get me wrong, it's 77%. But he hasn't fought a lot of guys that just looking to take him down for the whole entire fight. So that's 77% takedown defense. If Kopp doesn't catch Mokaev early in this fight, it's going to go down from the 77%. Because if this goes 3 rounds, you expect Mokaev to get this fight down multiple times to the ground, right? Kopp's path, obviously, keep this fight standing, hurt him early. Possible, yes. And minus 160 for Mokaev, not terrible. If I look at percentages, which I like to do, I have Kopp winning this fight 35% of the time, maybe 40, but closer to 35. So, Cap very live here. Not enough meat on the bone at plus 130 for me to bet it. Probably won't make my client card. If it did, it would be Mokaev in some way. So far, I'm staying away, but very interested to see this fight. Make sure you guys that just tune into the main event or the main card, don't do that. Watch this fight. I think it will be interesting because these guys have bad blood. Now, it could turn out to be a boring fight where Mokaev just controlling him. But guys, controlling a guy for 3 rounds or controlling a guy for a long portion of a fight is an impressive skill set. So take that as you will. Fun one to open up the main card. We got Arnold Allen's back in action, minus 225 versus Giga Chikadze, plus 187. Hey, I like this fight, right? Opening up the main card. Allen's coming off 2 losses in a row, guys, against top-level guys, all right? Max Holloway, Evloev. Looked decent in that Evloev fight at times. Holloway obviously beat him from start to finish, but he could have won that Evloev fight, but the wrestling was a little too much from Evloev. We know this fight should go, right? Giga wants to keep it on the feet. One of the best kickboxers in the UFC. Takedown defense, not great, not much of a wrestler, grappler, and I think that's where Allen wants to get it, right? Allen could box, don't get me wrong, but if this is a 3-round fight standing, it's going to be a flip of a coin, maybe lean Giga. But Allen should be able to mix it up, get it down, try to grapple, try to wrestle, and I think that's where he wins this fight. And Allen is going to be the play. I don't like the minus 225 as much. You want to improve it. Maybe the decision, it's tough. There could be a finish here. It's possible. Allen's going to come out fighting at home, two fight losing streak. He might come out with a vengeance here, guys. I don't know, right? We've seen Giga finish before, but it's going to be more lean to a decision. But, if you want to play it safe, maybe fit Allen in a 2-fight parlay. Let's look at quickly some of Giga's wins, right? They're not as impressive. He went on that little win streak, and he was getting some hype, and then Calvin Kattar shut him up very quickly to prove that he's not a championship type of guy because he's more of just a striker. And in that fight, he actually got outstruck by Kattar, but we know Kattar's a great boxer. Let's see here. Giga's wins. Last time out against Alex Harris, Bruce Leroy, he did not look that great, guys. Sierra stood in there. He made the fight very close, and Giga won by decision. He did enough, but Sierra's was right there. If you put Sierra's, Allen, the level is night and day difference, guys. And his wins. An older Barbosa was his best win yet. It's a good win. I'm not going to take it away from him, but he was an older Barbosa. Cub Swanson, an older Cub Swanson. These are his wins, guys. Sierras, Barbosa, Cub Swanson. Arnold Allen, I have much better than all 3 of those guys. I expect Arnold Allen to win this fight. How? Tough to say, but I'm leaning more of a decision. But Arnold Allen fighting at home, back on track after losing 2 in a row. Could that be in his head a little bit? Losing 2 fights in a row? A little bit. But I think the competition is good here for him. I think the opponent is good for him if he fights smart and makes it an MMA fight and not a kickboxing fight. That will do it, guys. That will do it. Enjoy this card. I think there's some good fights on it. Should be a good one. We got the new setup here. It's about 70-80% done. We're waiting for a new wall piece coming soon, so looking forward to that. It'll be all ready for the NFL season. Like I always say, guys, bet smart and know your limits. Enjoy this card.